Well, good morning, everyone. Great to see everyone today. Happy Hump Day. And it's not Hump Day, it's Tuesday only. Oh my goodness, this week is flying by. Again, I just want to welcome everybody. My name is Carl Lissick. I'm the Executive Director for Drive Clean Indiana. And we represent the Department of Energy, Clean Cities and Community program here in the great state of our Hoosier state. So here's our mission, what we do. And again, we cover all 92 counties of our great state. So next slide, please. So just to reiterate some of the clean school bus rebate awardees that we have in our state, these are the recent awardees for a state. And if your school is listed on here, please, reach out if there's things that you need assistance with. We are helping majority of the schools on the screen that you see, and be happy to help with whatever information, whatever resources that you might need to implement your clean school bus project. So congratulations, got a lot of work, and we hope to have additional opportunities to work with you in the near future. So next screen there, Danielle. So I wanted to give the opportunity to Tony Maeda, and all of you know Tony from most of our Indiana Clean School Bus webinars. And Tony's going to give us an update on what's happening in the EPA Clean School Bus program. So Tony, the floor is yours, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. No, thanks, Carl. And hopefully folks can hear me. I know there's not a lot of people on, so just if anybody's got questions, I don't know if you can unmute them. Well, I just put them in the chat. I will respond to your questions as soon as I see them. We're pretty fluid here. And so, yeah, I've been working with, EPA since 2003. I've been working on our voluntary programs since then. Let me just make sure I've got my ability to see you all too. Okay, we're good. As you all know, there's a rebate open right now. There's $5 billion over 5 years. This is the fourth year of funding, and the way that it worked was 2022 we did a rebate, 2023 we had a grant, and then the third round was a rebate, and now with this funding we are looking at another rebate round. And you can go, I think the first thing, and this is why I have this main page open, it's the epa.gov/clean school bus. And so this web page here is going to take you to everything I have open, and I don't know how well, or hopefully you can see it well, but this is my just internet browser here, and I'm not going to really stray from my internet browser today. But everything that you see and you will be shown comes from this epa.gov/clean school bus webpage. So if you don't remember anything else from today, just remember that website. And this is the homepage for our Clean School Bus program. And if you scroll down just a little bit, you can see the rebate funding. And so when you click on this 2024 Clean School Bus Rebate Funding Program, it takes you to this webpage. And really, our rebates are open. Hopefully, you've heard about this program before, so I'm not going to get into terrible detail here. But just so you know, it's open until January 9th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And so folks can apply up to then. I do not recommend applying at the last minute. What I do recommend is applying now if you think you're going to apply for this funding. I'm going to scroll down this page just really quickly just to kind of give you a sense of things that I'm going to go over really quick. And just to show you where, again, let me go back here. You click from epa.gov/clean school bus, and you scroll down to this rebate funding. You click on this rebate page, and it'll bring you here. This is the timeline for everything. I would suspect, because there's a change, people may have voted. Hopefully you did vote. You better vote. But there's a change in administration, so their priorities are different than this current administration's. So a lot of these timelines could change. I would suspect that, this closed on January 9th. I think there might be a little more urgency to get the funding, selections made and funding awarded. But, we'll see how it goes. I think what we're looking at is sometime between January and May, they'll be announcing, who got selected in that round. What you can see here are all the supporting documents, and you should, if you're thinking of applying, you should definitely open all of them. You will need to go through or at least put your eyes on all these documents, in the application process. For sure, the program guide. There's a user guide on how to apply. I'll just briefly show that, not really walk through it. You can tell if your school is prioritized or not. There's a prioritization list. It's also in an Excel format if you want to search it. Certain schools can be self-certified. So it's the National Education, NCES, the National Center for Education Statistics. And schools are listed there. It's sort of like the, if you're looking at for homes, like the MLS for schools, basically. And so basically, pretty much every public school is going to be listed in that NCES list. And of those public schools, there are prioritization for tribal schools, for certain rural schools, and then for schools that have high in need population. And that's the three types of schools you'll find in that list. But to self certify, you can be a very large school of over 35,000 children or more. And I forgot there was a second component to that. Actually, let me just click into this. I think it's something to do with like Title I funding. But if you meet the two criteria for that, you can self-certify. My computer's not going to be really great to me right now. So essentially, if you are a priority school, I'm going to jump down here. What it really means is that you'll just get more money. This only really kind of mattered the first year, and now it's just if you're in the priority, you get this upper level funding amount. If you're not in priority, you still get a lot of money, but just not as much as you would if you were a priority school, as you can see. Especially on the electric school bus end, that's where that really makes a difference. For CNG and propane, it's still pretty good. It's just not as good as if you're prioritized. But again, you want to check that list to make sure whether you can get that funding or not. All right, let me see here. There's a program guide, and essentially, you have to be an eligible applicant. Oh my God, my computer is really not doing good today. You have to be an eligible applicant, which is essentially, if you're a school district, you can apply. Certain third parties can apply on behalf of school districts. Here we go. And so the public school districts, tribal applicants, third parties. And the third party is a nonprofit school transportation association and certain eligible contractors. And when I say contractors, it means manufacturers and vendors because that's how the law wrote that in. I think, again, I think this group is pretty savvy. I'm just going to kind of go over the highlights. I'm not going to spend too much more time here on this overview. I'm just going to go on the highlights. What I will say is, again, there's the application guide. So if you need help applying, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Carter. Carter is the guy who should be giving this presentation, but he's talking to our air division right now, giving a presentation about their section's work. So he's on double duty. But he or I or any one of us on our school bus team are happy to walk you through it. That document exists. Again, there's the prioritized school district list. If my computer will let me open it, you can scroll down and see if your school's there. There's not a lot of schools in Indiana that are on the priority list. We do know that. We are aware of that. That's why this consortium exists. And that's why, we are trying to get the word out to as many folks as possible. So, this is going to be here's the page one, starting from Anderson. And I don't know if you can see if the two or three folks are on here, see your school in this list. Let me go back down to that's it. There's only West Central underneath. So it's like barely kind of like a page. That has been, it is what it is. But the thing is that you can still get the funding for the non-priority if you can make it work. There's a Q&A document that will list out a ton of questions that folks have asked. And it goes over just different topics. Through the application, who can I apply, what can I use the money for, what can I not use the money for, stuff like that. But really, what it is here's the matrix of if you have a 2010 or older bus, you get the full menu. You can get a propane bus, you can get compressed natural gas, or a battery electric. If you have 2010 or newer buses only, you're kind of stuck in the battery electric realm. There are some tweaks to this, but that's generally how that works. With the money, you get a chunk of money per bus. You have to buy a bus. You can also use that chunk of money to buy a charger. And as you can see in this little graphic here, it has to be on your side of the meter, but it can be all those things. You can get battery storage, you can get solar, the charging station, the panel. So any of those things can be purchased with the funding in that chunk of money. And what's new is there's no real sweet graphic for it, but you can also use this funding for paying for workplace development. So making sure that your drivers, your mechanics are trained, on these electric buses. And again, the real change is the amounts of funding are lower than they have been. This is because two reasons. This is for two reasons. The first reason is, there. I don't know how to say this lightly. The cost of these electric buses, for some reason, shot way up as soon as we started giving out $395,000 per bus in 2022. The prices of everything shot way up around the same time. It's pretty egregious on the electric vehicle end. And part of this is EPA, trying to do some cost controls, like, maybe put out less money. And we have seen bus prices sort of maybe go down a little bit. The other reason is that there are tax credits that you will get if you just fill them out. So you get the $170,000, say, for a class 7 or class 8 electric bus. You take that 170, you put that towards the bus, maybe 20 grand towards the charger. But then you can go here to the IRS website where there is, it's $40,000, up to $40,000 per vehicle. And then it's up to $100,000 for qualified charging infrastructure. So there is additional funding that can augment this. And I will say, if Carter were here, because he's spearheading this with our other colleague Juan Morales, the two of them, actually all of our state leads, have come up with what we call cheat sheets. They're basically, EPA has this funding and it will end. Either it's ending in this round because the next administration won't open the next $1 billion. So that's the other thing. This could be the last time you'll ever see this funding. There is one more round if the new administration lets EPA open the last round of funding. I would not count on that. And we're not counting on that. And so we are coming up with sheets for each state that contain other federal funding sources and then state-specific funding sources too. So these will be ways that hopefully you can augment your funding if you get it. The other thing last thing I will say is that let me see if it's written on this webpage or not, and I'll talk about it as I scroll up there. The only other real change to our program over the last round is that in the last round you could apply for up to 25 buses. Sorry, I'm scrolling up and down here. And in this round, you can apply for, here we are, up to 50 buses. So this sort of makes some sense for third parties applying on behalf of multiple schools, where you have, like a school bus provider who can absorb that lower rebate cost, can use that funding to get the electric buses that serve those schools that they serve. That's a pretty good scenario for this funding round. We have always said, we being EPA Region 5, that if you apply as the school district, you have all the cards. You have a lot of leverage, even if you don't apply yourself, because those buses wouldn't show up if it wasn't for your school being there. And they have to serve your school for 5 years. But this round, if your school can't make that funding work, this is really kind of a good, it's sort of set up well for a third party kind of interaction, is what I'm trying to say. EPA does not promote any manufacturer, any third party, or any of that. So I'm just saying that. I'm not telling you to do it. I think you should still, if you're a school, you should apply on your own and work with your third party. But that is kind of the overview. I'm happy to answer any questions folks have. I'm looking in the slide or on the chat and I'm not seeing anything, but
Hey,
that's
Tony.
yeah,
Yeah, I do have a question. You talked about the cheat sheet for the schools and for our
yeah,
state.
yep.
Any anticipated timeline for that so folks could maybe look forward to maybe when they'd be receiving that either from you or from Indiana?
Yeah, I think what we'll do is I'm gonna touch base with Carter. I hope to get it out as early as this week because I think they
Oh,
have them all.
wonderful.
I think it's just like we just gotta meet. In fact, today, later today is when we will be meeting to go over that. I would be
Okay.
surprised if they didn't send them out today. I think you'll get them this week, no later than next week. And I know that that Carter will send it to you, Carl, and you can send that to the group.
Wonderful. And
Yeah.
then just another question. I know we've gotten some calls and some support needs with some of the tax rebates. Any updates? I know you're not the IRS,
Right.
but I know a lot of people have had questions on how to really take advantage of that and some best management case studies. And those are the things that we just want to share with our partners here in our great state.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think if you continue to have these webinar series, I think what the best thing to do would be to do what we did in Illinois, maybe a couple other states, would be to get those couple schools, like Williams Field, well, Tim, formerly of Williams Field, because he's the guy who did it.
Uh-huh.
We can get those folks and have them show you, because like you said, Carl, I'm not a tax professional. EPA is not, even the IRS themselves will not do what I'm doing and sit on a webinar and like tell you stuff about the program
Sure.
because they don't want to be held responsible for someone saying, "Oh, well, blah 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 from IRS told me this," and that doesn't hold weight like the actual IRS regulations do. But we've had a number of, and I see Susan now. If you want to add to this, go ahead too. But we've had a number of like webinars, and I think this group would be good to have those folks who've already done the application. I'm sorry, not the application. It's just filling it out in your tax forms. So folks have already done that. We can have them explain to you all how they did it and anything to look for. To spoil it, Tim, the guy who did it, said it was pretty easy.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, our plan is to continue, just so everybody knows, we will continue into the new year with our clean school bus. And we'll have we do have one left, one event left, which we'll get into here in a few minutes. But, it is our goal to continue on the Indiana Clean School Bus Coalition into the new calendar year. So just for everybody's knowledge.
Um, can I just insert here? This is Susan. Can you
Hi,
hear me?
Susan. Yep.
Hi, Carl. I just wanted to add to something that Tony said, which is the person he's referring to is Tim Farker. Tim was the superintendent of Williams Field. He's now the superintendent of Mercer County in Illinois.
Yeah.
He right away did all the filings for Williams Field to get both the 30C and the 45W tax credits. And he has done a webinar where he's literally shown people step by step how he did it. And I'm pretty sure we could either get that webinar, the copy of it to show, and or as Tony suggested, Tim might well be willing to do it for the coalition here, one way or
Absolutely.
the other.
Wonderful, Susan. That's good news. Yep.
And then I also wanted to add, and I put it in the chat, but I'm never sure whether the chat or the Q&A function, whether it's seen during the webinar. Tony had also spoken to the state cheat sheets, and I'm thrilled that EPA is doing that. I think there's a couple of questions that I'm hoping you and Sean can answer that could be part of such a cheat sheet, which is you probably have better knowledge than the rest of us of any both Indiana state programs and Indiana utility programs that could be helping school districts anywhere in Indiana or only in certain parts of Indiana with their working towards electric school buses. Like, are there utility make-ready programs? Are there specific rates? Are there fleet assessment services? What is currently available with any or all, I'm guessing it's some, utilities in Indiana that could be helping them. And that would be great to have on these cheat sheets. even if they don't, even if not every program covers the whole state, like the utility ones would certainly be
Oh, yeah.
location specific, but
Yep.
also if there's any state programs. I think the VW money is gone, but you could correct me if I'm wrong, please.
No, it's gone. Yes.
You
that's
are not
correct.
wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's all.
VW is fully expended. The committee has disbanded. We are moving on to pretty much whatever DERA funding becomes available moving forward.
Is there any other state program of any type that could be helping school districts with
There-
their electric
There
school
is,
bus?
Susan. Yeah, there is. And again, I think that's a good, we'll focus and work with Carter and Tony. And there's a lot of proposed programs from our utilities that aren't public information yet that we've been corresponding with our utility partners in the state. So there's a lot of things that are happening, for legislation for this upcoming new calendar year. So I think that's something that's a great idea that we could put what's available as of 24, and potentially as things get enacted here in our state for 25, we could include that onto those cheat sheets. So we will work with Tony and Carter on getting those updated here, hopefully this week, and getting that out to our partners in our state.
That would
Sounds
be
good.
really
Yeah,
helpful, Carl. Sorry, Sean, I didn't mean to interrupt
No,
you.
it's all good. I would just add that based on what I'm seeing on the calendar, we have another meeting of the Go EV Indiana team, which includes our IUG, our utility partners, next week. So we can kind of ping them and ask them to get to us whatever they may have that is available publicly or just maybe, I don't want to say privately, but that the easy and the hard things to access, because we always know there are some things that are very straightforward and some things that you have to do A, B, and C to actually get that piece. So we'll see what it is, but we'll touch base with them next week.
Yeah, thank you. Anything that you could be letting us all know about that, especially that could be working with this potential last round of EPA funding? We'd all like to help get the word out to school districts so that, we can, if this is the last, we can go out with a bang instead of a whimper.
Absolutely. Good information, good questions, good dialogue. Thank you, Susan. Thanks, Tony. Anything else, closing thoughts, Tony?
No, just I mean, I have no idea if there's going to be another round of this funding. There's a whole other $1 billion, but the time, if you are interested in it, you should apply for it now.
Yep. Okay. Well, a couple things I just wanted to bring up. I know this is a couple of events that we are planning. One event that we're planning is on November 19th, and this is not specific just to schools. It's specific to anyone in Indiana that is interested in electric, and this is a program brought to you by Go EV Indiana. And the opportunity is we're working with the National Renewable Energy Lab. And specifically, this was for fleets in Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Michigan. And for larger fleets, however, we're opening up to all fleets that are interested in. We were going to really work on light duty implementation in our states. So this conference that we're going to be hosting, it's a free conference on the 19th of November. So that's next week. And we're just going to go through a journey of electrification for light duty. So it's almost like an EV 101. So, our school bus providers, if they're interested in this, we would love to have them be a part of this communication. But it is very limited because we only have 100 open seats and we're more than half full. But we are anticipating this to be a sellout. So there's no cost. It is, you can go onto on the left here and sign up for this. I would recommend you signing up for this today. And then on the 20th, we're hosting our annual conference. We branded it as React. And during the React conference, there is a fee associated with this. But on the React conference, we're going to be having a clean school bus, panel presented by two of our lead contractors here in the state, McAllister and Curlin, and we'll be talking about clean school bus funding, not just for electric, but for all the alternative fuels. So again, another opportunity to learn about things and opportunities that will be hopefully forthcoming in the calendar year 2025. So we'd welcome anybody to attend both of those events. And again, that's our annual conference, which will be actually awarding different fleets throughout the state of Indiana and some of the projects that they had implemented, including clean school buses. So, I'm excited to say that we had a great competition, and we're very proud of our award winner, but we can't announce that until the 20th. So, but looking forward to that. And next slide, Danielle, please. So then the other thing I will just let you know, we are planning an event, and this is open to folks in all the states that are potentially on this. We're hosting a municipal EV education event through Go EV Indiana, and in participation with MACOG, which is the Metropolitan Planning Organization there, and Tire Rack. I think people are familiar with Tire Rack, but Tire Rack has a test track. And we had done an event last year with them in Go EV Indiana and MACOG, and it was mainly on first responders and municipal EV education. So we are opening this up to folks that are interested, but we will have a variety of vehicles that people will actually be able to drive on a closed circuit track. And so it's open, to governmental agencies and folks that are interested in electric. So that's on December 3rd. You could go online or go to our website to learn more about that and to participate. That is a free event that we're hosting, but you definitely have to be registered for that. And there are some insurance regulations and liabilities, things like that to be aware of. But as I said before, through the Indiana Clean School Bus Coalition, which is in partnership with the US EPA and the Indiana Department of Environmental Management and the Indiana Department of Education. Our goal is to continue having these meetings in talking about clean school buses in our state. And as Tony alluded to, some of the opportunities for natural gas, propane, and electric, and we'll continue to showcase and talk about this. So if there's things that you're interested in learning or hearing about on these webinars, please feel free to reach out to myself, Sean Seals, Tony, Carter, Danielle of our team, and just ask us. And because we want to be very, very much inclusive, and then to highlight some of the great things that are going on in our state, and to make you aware of grant opportunities, supplemental environmental projects that are happening in Indiana that clean school buses can be a part of, and then just to hear more of how things are enacted. And I will just tell you is that even though these programs have been going on for a while, I would just tell you is that we do feel like there's still a lot of opportunities moving forward for all of us to implement clean school buses into our districts. So with that, our next Clean School Bus Consortium is planned for the 17th, so please feel free to sign up for that. And we will be having a variety of speakers, and then hopefully we'll have Tony and Sean, and then we're going to do a couple of requests from some other folks that have implemented some clean school buses in our state to be part of that meeting. But just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I don't know if there's any chat. Susan, you still have your hand up. Do you have any other questions? Okay.
Hi, thanks. Yes, thanks. I did. I had to be unmuted. Thank you. Couple questions, Carl. Thanks for those updates. One is on November 20th, the panel. Can you say McAllister and Curlin contractors, which electric school buses do either or both of them sell?
They sell Thomas, and they sell. I'm trying to think what the other one, the other brand is. But there's again, I think they're probably the two largest in our state that have provided the school buses. I don't remember which one that McAllister is actually promoting, but there'll be other folks in the room, part of the panel. I believe folks from our team will be on there. And then, again, this is strictly, we're not promoting one brand over the other, but, the goal is really to educate folks on some of these electric school buses that
Yeah,
are
no,
available.
I appreciate it. I wasn't suggesting it was an endorsement. I was just interested in knowing which
Mhm.
ones they sell. And then on the December 3rd tire rack, will there
Mhm.
be any electric school buses as part of that?
We are going to attempt to get some school buses, and again, I think part of the timing, Susan, is always getting our fleet directors, because time is so important, because there's such a shortage of drivers and stuff. So we will potentially have a electric school bus available for that, and again, we just want to make it worth everyone's time to bring that school bus, one of the demo buses for folks to drive. So
Totally agree. Totally agree. Where is it? I can't tell from the slide. Where is it being held?
it's in South Bend, Indiana. It's
Oh, South Bend.
really
Okay,
right
great.
off of I-80. It's
Yep,
it's actually a very easy drive. Coming from the Chicagoland area and coming from our great any of the interstates here in Indiana. So it's a very centrally located. The only thing that we don't have control over is the weather.
of
So
course,
we hosted
of
this
course.
event last year, an event similar to this in January, and we had to change the date into January. But it was cold, very well represented, and we will be doing some filming during this event and to document some of the things. But I will just tell you is that was very successful, and again, due to Tire Rack and MACOG and our Go EV Indiana program, I think what we want to make sure is that this is inclusive. We're inviting our utility partners to be in attendance to answer questions about some of their Make Ready programs, things like that, and then just have a variety of vehicles, light duty mainly, but again, maybe some medium duty and potentially some off-road equipment being available for demonstrations. So it'll be a great event. And again, there's no charge for folks to participate in that. So
That's great. One last thing, Carl. You mentioned supplemental environmental projects currently in Indiana. Can you speak to which those are and which of them might be helping
sure, I
currently
would
with
just say
electric school
Northwest
buses?
Indiana. Yeah, I would
Okay.
just say Northwest Indiana, Lake County. And so I think if people have questions on that, I mean, we've been working with a variety of schools located in Lake County, Indiana, to help them, potentially put in applications for that. But it is another opportunity that for folks in East Chicago, Gary, um, Whiting, and I think Highland, Indiana. So there's a total of five communities, and it is open and available to folks that are interested in clean school buses. So again, it's not just for electric; it's for any of the alternative fuels. So that is something that I don't know if there's really been an RFQ that's been sent out, but all of the folks located in those communities and school districts have been notified, and we have been working with their fleet directors, the mayors of those communities. So again, another great opportunity to potentially leverage non-federal dollars with some of these federal dollars, and that's one of the things that we're hopefully going to be addressing with these communities.
Is there anything we can do to help reinforce that, Carl? Any way to make sure that those are done in a timely way that they can match with the Clean School Bus program?
I
I
think we're
mean, it
doing that.
feels like we have to really
Yeah,
take advantage in this short window of every
yeah,
possibility.
absolutely. And this is something we've been working on for the last couple months with these community partners, and I think they're pretty much at the point where that with the clean school bus rebates, and there are some public and private partners that are interested in some of this funding. So again, I think if someone on this call is not aware of it, please feel free to reach out to me directly, or they can. I think if they talk to Tony or to Sean, I think they would just direct them to Drive Clean Indiana. But again, I think this is something, again, we just want to make folks aware of and help them to improve air quality in their community.
So it's a supplemental environmental project based on which which company, which lawsuit?
I'd rather not say.
Well, that's
Yeah,
public, Carl.
yeah.
Please
Well, then
tell us. That's a public
BP.
document.
It's BP, so.
Thank you.
Hey, I just wanted to toss in, so Susan, you asked about the brands that are sold by Curlin and McAllister. Curlin sells Thomas and McAllister sells Bluebird.
Thank you. Thanks, Sean.
Yep.
So with that being said, if there's any other questions, please feel free to reach out. Tony, thank you for your presentation. And then happy Thanksgiving to all. And we look forward to seeing you on the 17th of December. So have a great week, and hopefully we'll have some more announcements on the 17th. So look forward to seeing everyone on December 17th. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. See ya.